fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The Somnus facility rose on the horizon like a jagged crown of obsidian, its spires clawing at the bruised twilight sky. The last sliver of sun bled behind the towers, staining the clouds a deep violet that seeped into the stone, turning every edge into a bruised bruise of light. I pulled my cloak tighter around my shoulders, feeling the chill settle deeper than the evening breeze, as if the night itself were breathing cold into my lungs. My fingers, numb and trembling, clutched a crumpled eviction notice, the paper thin and damp from the rain that fell in cold sheets. 10,000 gold marks a night, my sister's future, her education, her chance to escape the mines, hung on that single, desperate gamble. The ink had bled, the words smudged, but the weight of each syllable pressed against my heart like a stone. Every step toward the courtyard echoed against the stone walls, a hollow thud that seemed to reverberate through the empty corridors of my mind. The rain hammered the cobblestones in a relentless rhythm, each drop a tiny percussion that matched the frantic beating of my own heart. I could taste the metallic tang of the storm on my tongue, feel the slickness of the wet stones under my boots, and hear the distant howl of wind slipping through the cracks of the ancient fortress. Cale stepped from the shadows, his silhouette framed by flickering torchlight that danced across his dark hair, now slick with rain. His eyes smoldered with a volatile mix of fury and longing, a storm of emotions that mirrored the tempest above us. "You shouldn't have come here alone," he whispered, his voice low enough to brush my ear like a caress, his breath warm against my skin, a stark contrast to the cold night air. The scent of his musk mingled with the metallic tang of rain-soaked ground, sending a shiver that traveled from my fingertips to the base of my spine. His hand found the small of my back, fingers digging into the fabric of my cloak as if to anchor me to the present. I felt the pressure of his grip, the heat of his body pressing against mine, and a forbidden thrill rose in my chest. "The crown is yours, Lyra," he said, his tone equal parts threat and promise. The cursed crown, an ancient relic said to bind the wearer to the throne of Somnus, glimmered faintly on the stone altar behind him, its cold metal humming with a power that made the air itself tremble. I stared at it, feeling the pull of destiny and the weight of my sister's future. "If I take it, you'll die," I whispered, the words tasting like ash. Cale's smile was a slash of darkness. "I already am dead," he replied, his thumb tracing a lazy circle on my throat. "But I can feel you, Lyra. I can feel the fire you hide beneath that cloak. Let it burn." The rain intensified, drumming a frantic rhythm on the stone. My pulse hammered in my ears as his hand slid lower, fingers brushing the curve of my hip, then tracing the line of my jaw. The contact sparked a heat that fought the cold, a current that made my breath hitch. I wanted to pull away, to run back to the safety of the streets, to protect my sister. Yet another part of me, one that had spent years dreaming of a love fierce enough to scorch the world, leaned into his touch. The crown's whisper grew louder, a cold promise that brushed my cheek: power, immortality, oblivion. "What will happen when it finally kisses me?" I asked, my voice barely more than a breath. Cale's eyes darkened, and for a heartbeat the world seemed to hold its breath. "It will bind you to me," he said, his lips hovering just inches from mine, "and together we will rewrite the fate of this cursed kingdom." The rain surged, a torrent that threatened to wash us away, but I felt no fear. I stepped forward, the wet stone slicked beneath my boots, and placed my hand on the crown. Its chill seeped into my skin, a shock that made my blood sing. Cale's fingers tightened around my wrist, his grip both a promise and a claim. In that instant, the crown's power surged, a flash of violet light that wrapped us both in a vortex of ancient magic. The world tilted, the stone walls dissolved into swirling mist, and I felt Cale's heart pound against my own, a rhythm that matched the storm outside. When the light faded, we stood alone in a courtyard that was no longer a prison, but a throne room bathed in moonlight. The crown rested upon my brow, its weight a reminder of the bargain we had made. Cale brushed a stray lock of rain-slicked hair from my face, his thumb lingering on my cheek. "We are bound now," he murmured, his voice a low, reverent growl, "and the kingdom will feel the heat of our love." I swallowed the fear, letting the heat between us rise, and answered, "Then let them hear us roar." The rain outside continued its relentless song, but inside, the only sound was the steady thrum of two hearts beating as one, ready to claim a destiny forged in fire and desire.